Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sarah. Well, today I'm really excited to show you two absolutely gorgeous collections from our friends at Ciao. We have Urban Blue and we have Time Capsule. Now, these are mixed media books and they are packed. Each collection contains 50 pages, and that consists of 11 sheets of ephemera and 39 sheets of pattern papers. So I'll just flip this over, and you can see on the back here, this is the Urban Blue collection. So your pattern papers up here, and all of those sheets with your fussy cut elements, which are tags, they are sentiments, they're all kinds of really cool images. So I thought what we could do, because there's so much in here, is just to kind of take a quick flip through. So here you can start to see what the color palette looks like in this Urban Blue collection. Kind of a batik. It's a really beautiful dark rich blue with hints of off-white and white. Here you can see some of the tags for the cutouts. Here are some of the fussy cut elements. There is just so much in this collection. Ooh, I like this one especially. And of course, everything is designed to color coordinate perfectly. So all over background sheets like this one here, and then some really cool faux texture designs as well. And then again, of course, more of those cutouts. So that's the Urban Blue collection. Then we've got the Time Capsule collection, exact same format. You can look on the back and see all of those gorgeous designs. Here are all of the fussy cut element sheets, and let's have a look. Ooh, I like those. Immediately, I can think of lots of different ways to put those to use. And I love the style here. I love this kind of grungy, distressed look, but it's made so easy to use with the combination of beautiful elements to use on the front or the inside of your card, as well as just really gorgeous faux texture backgrounds. Ciao does a beautiful job of creating really gorgeous artwork that is also easy to use. Here's some more of those tags on the inside front cover. So as you can see, we have a lot of really beautiful papers and embellishments to play with today. I'm really glad that you're here, and I'm so excited to explore the creative possibilities with you. So come play with us. Let's start with this centerstep card, which uses the Time Capsule collection. And I'm using the green color palette for this design because it's got these gorgeous collage background papers on here. Some really fun cutout elements from the compasses and the clocks to the tickets, the words, and the numbers on here. Now also for this card, I'm incorporating two of Hot Off the Press's cutting dies. So I've got some ephemera pieces here with the Steampunk for Everyone die set. And then my card base has been die cut with the centerstep card cutting die. And that's going to give me a really cool dimensional effect like so. This is a lot of fun to have on display, and it also is a lot of fun to make. And easy too. So let me step us through this process. First, I'll need to have my cutting die, and as you can see, you've got one piece in here, one metal piece is going to create that card base for you. Now what I really like about Hot Off the Press's dies is that they always give you your diagram and the dimensions when the piece is folded and unfolded. So you know what size paper or cardstock to work with, and also what size envelope you're going to need to have on hand. Now here you've got the project idea as inspiration, and on the back you can see another glimpse of that same project idea. And then here you'll have some written instructions as well as your diagram with your mountain and your valley folds. What I really like about these dies too is that you've got a nice sturdy folder where you can keep your die. So this is how I use this so that I keep everything together, instructions and my die as well. So I've got one of the card bases already die cut for us to take a look at. When you die cut this, it will come out looking like so. And the die not only cuts around the outside edge, You will also make these score lines in here too. So all you need to do is just run this through your die cutting machine and then follow the diagram on the package to fold these up. So your mountain folds and your valley folds. So as you can see, this is going to fold up like so. I really like to have a bone folder on hand, and this gives me some nice crisp edges. So just something to have on hand as you're making your scored cards. And then from here, you can go ahead and die cut however you like. Now, you can use any of your patterned or your solid cardstocks for this. For our card project today, I wanted to have a solid card design, so I used the Golden Botanical cardstock to die cut my card base. And I use this green. On the other side of the green is white, so that gives me a nice solid surface to decorate. And that green just happened to match perfectly. So I've got green going along the outside here and then white on the inside. So after I die cut this, I trimmed down this beautiful collage pattern paper and inked the edges with velvet fawn before gluing it to my card front. And the velvet fawn just worked beautifully with this color palette, as you can see. It also worked really nicely with the urban blue collection. So I've used the velvet fawn for inking on all of my cards that I'm doing today. So I've glued this down. I've also glued down another pattern paper here on the bottom and on this side area here. Now on this side area, I've got the numbers, which are, well, they could be used individually. They could be trimmed apart, and I decided to use them all as one piece. So simply glued that down, inked the edges, and I was ready to go. And so that's how I've covered my entire piece here. Now this circular element is one of the cutouts from the collection, as is the Ticket to Anywhere and the word and sentiment accents, all of which are inked with velvet fawn, and they're popped up with some foam tape. I also have this beautiful butterfly. Now this is a layering die cut from the Steampunk for Everyone die set. So let me show you this die set here. This is from Paper Wishes, and you can see all of the dies here as well as the silhouettes. This is, again, the measurements will show on there. If I flip this over carefully, you can see we've got a project idea on the back there as well, and some instructions too. So you've got everything you need for a little bit of inspiration as well as all of your dies. So my butterfly here is 2 pieces, and I wanted to show this to you. I've got some additional inspiration too. So this is the butterfly. I've just die cut her from plain green cardstock, and I could leave this as is, and I think it would be really beautiful. I can also die cut the little center body here and simply glue this right on top. And that's what I've done here for this butterfly. I've also backed the wings with a little bit of this same cardstock color so that I've got some contrast going on behind the butterfly wings. You can see there's some open space there. Now I also wanted to show you another little bit of inspiration here. This is a sampler that I did for a class that I taught, an online class with Bella Crafts. And I used the Steampunk for Everyone die set, and I thought, oh, it's really nice to be able to see some ideas for different ways you can use the elements in the die set. Now this is just one of the dies in the Steampunk for Everyone collection. So here's my butterfly body. You can see I've just die cut this from black cardstock. Here's the center, and then here are wings. Now these are also included in that die set so that you can layer up and create a dimensional butterfly. Here's an example. I'm just using some black and gray cardstock here, but I've got the wings and then the body in the middle. Now you can also do this with some of your specialty cardstock too. Here, for example, with the metallic gold card. And then I've also got some additional examples down here. You can sand that cardstock. You can glue together different color combinations. I just wanted people to be able to see some ideas here. I've even got some of the gold caviar beads glued in the body there as well. So lots and lots of ideas for even just one of the dies in the Steampunk for Everyone collection. So I've got my butterfly here popped up with some foam tape. I also have two additional elements, the cogs and gears, which have been die cut from patterned paper. Let me bring back in this Steampunk for Everyone set once again. So you can see the butterfly bodies, here are the wings. Here is one of my favorite pieces, which is the cog and gear. Now you can die cut that as one piece, as I've done here. You can also simply snip portions of this apart, which is what I did on the front of the card. So this element here is the entire die cut piece, and this piece here is where I've just snipped apart a couple of the elements. So I'm actually able to get two very different looks. I've inked around the outside edges and then simply glued them down corner to corner here on the front of my card. Now I've also got some fun metal cog and gear accents. Now these are from a collection called Metal Cogs and Gears. These are from Paper Wishes as well. And you've got 25 metal embellishments in a range of metal tones and also a range of different sizes. So these have been a lot of fun to incorporate, especially with today's paper collections. And when you're gluing these down, I really like to use my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, and I've got a precision applicator here, and that just makes everything so much easier when you're gluing those down in place. Then for my card inside, I've got some more of this pattern paper. I've got more of these fun number cutouts, as well as a clock face, and then another butterfly and sentiment to finish off the card design. Our next card is also using the Time Capsule collection, and in this case I've chosen mostly the brown colors with a few hints of the green. I really love the color and the pattern options you have in these collections and how easily they mix and match. So I've got some beautiful background elements here. I've also used some of those pattern papers for some die cutting that I've got here with a cutting die set, not only for the leaves but also for these layered flowers here. Now my background is a really gorgeous faux patterned background paper. It's like a faux fabric, and you can see it almost looks like when you touch it that you could feel some dimension on here. So this is what I've covered the front of my card with, and then I've added this collage pattern paper on top. Now I'm still using my Velvet Fawn ink pad for the edges, not only for this pattern paper but also for the edges of my card, and I like that contrast there. Then working my way up, I have an ephemera piece tucked behind here that I've aged with a really simple technique using a water mister. So many of you crafters will probably remember this really fun and easy aging technique. So I'm going to hold my pattern paper here, give it a few quick mists of water. You could even flip it over and mist the back. You don't need to flood it, just make it wet enough so that when you crumple this, you're able to get some nice folds in here. Now, if you oversaturate it, it can tear, which may be a look that you like. If you want something really edged, distressed, and weathered. And then what you'll do is simply pull this out slightly. Now you can let this dry as it is. You could also bring in your ink pad. And again, here's the Velvet Fawn. And this is a perfect example because you can hit those raised edges or those raised bits here and get a really beautiful faux aged effect. So as much or as little as you want. I do recommend the Velvet Fawn for this one because the colors will just blend so beautifully. You can also go around the outside edges of this piece and get some really fun distressing going around there. So that's what I've done just for this little piece here that's kind of tucked out. Got some nice worn edges along here too. So I've placed this down using a little bit of foam tape. Do make sure this is totally dry before you do that. It's going to make things stick in place even better. And then I've layered on top, I've got a trio of butterflies, and this is a cutout element that you can, of course, cut into separate units or just use the entire piece like I've done here. This is popped up with foam tape. The Dare to Begin sentiment is another cutout, also popped up on some foam tape. And then down at the bottom corner, I've got some flowers and leaves that I've die cut using the Floral Luxury die set. So let me show you this. This is another one from Paper Wishes. This is a new to me set. And you can see how many dies you're getting, 33 altogether. And of course, they're going to give you the silhouette shapes here so you can see a little bit more easily what you're getting in this set. And of course, your measurements there too, which are really going to help. So I'm using the leaves, this large leaf cluster here, and then I've also got some of the flowers on here as well. Now the flowers can be layered up together, and that's what I've done. So I'll just bring in a couple that I've die cut. So this is one of the larger elements. I could use this as it is. I can also die cut the smaller sentiment or the smaller piece to go right on top. Now in this case, I'm die cutting all of my pieces from pattern paper. So I've got different shades of the brown on here popped up with some foam tape in between those layers. And then I've got the leaves tucked in around here too, and then also some of the smaller leaves in there as well. Also die cut from pattern paper. So they will give you a very different effect when they're die cut from a solid cardstock than from that beautiful collage pattern paper. So you can get some very different looks in there. And I did use that velvet font to go around the outside edges of the flowers as well. A little bit more definition in there too. And in the flower centers, I've got some more of the cog and gear embellishment. So that's going to give me an even more dimensional effect. Then for my card inside, let me open this up. I've got another strip of that faux fabric patterned paper, and I've got another strip of those images, so more of those cutout elements there too. I have another leaf that I've die cut from that patterned paper, and two more cutout accents here to finish this off. Our next card is using the Urban Blue collection, which is this beautiful collage pattern paper here I've used on the front of my card and also for my card focal. Now I've combined this with the Open Sesame dies so that I've got a really fun collaged interactive card focal. Now this is a really fun card design to create and one that is also made easy to do with the help of the Open Sesame cutting dies set. So here you can see you've got two metal pieces included here. You've got the 3-panel piece and you've got the hinge. And you've also got, of course, your project ideas. So this is the front of the card and this is how the inside interactive piece has been decorated. Now when I flip this over, you'll see all of your written instructions and you'll also see the diagram that takes you step by step through the assembly process. Where you see the red on here, this indicates where we're suggesting you use the extra sticky tape for this. And I really do recommend this for interactive cards. Those really do tend to get quite a workout, and you want to make sure that your interactive hinges will stay in place. So let's take a look at how to create this. Now the first thing I recommend you do before you do your die cutting is to get your card base ready. So I've got two pieces here just to step us through this. The blue cardstock is just to provide some contrast because I'm working with a white card base for this demo. And those of you who work with hot off the presses 5 by 6.5 inch card blanks know that you've got your card, you've got your score line here. I've gone over this with a black marker just so that you can see where it is. Normally for your standard cards, you just fold this on that line and you're ready to go. But for this card design, you're going to create a gatefold. And so what you'll do is fold in each side panel to meet the center. So if I can fold this in like so, meeting that center piece. Then of course you get your bone folder and score this up. And you'll repeat that for the other side so that you have a piece that looks like this. So this will open and close like so. And this is going to give you your space for your hinges on the front and also for that interactive panel on the inside. So once you have this done, I suggest you decorate the fronts as well as the inside here, and then you can get to the second portion of the card. So I'm going to move that aside and bring in the 3-panel piece. So if I hold this one up, you can see there's 1, 2, 3 panels. What you're going to want to do is reduce this or combine these to be a 5-panel piece. So you're going to glue overlapping one each of those panels. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll go ahead and score up those pieces as well. I've got one that's already done. So you can see how that's overlapping, glued together. I would recommend the extra sticky tape and then folded up and scored with that bone folder. So this is your interactive piece. Now, how does it all stay on your card? Well, that's where we're going to bring back in our folded gatefold card and then those 2 hinges. So when you die cut those, you're going to die cut 2 of them. It doesn't really matter what color or cardstock you're using for this because they'll be hidden. But you do want to make sure that they are scored perfectly because this is really what's holding everything together. Do use that extra sticky tape on each side, and you will glue one flush with the open edge of the card and the other one on the other side. You can see I've got my extra sticky tape already on there because once I have this in place, I'm going to open this up, take my interactive portion, and glue the center in the center. So glue the center panel in the center of my card. Now when I do this, I want to make sure that I'm aligning this with those hinges. I don't want this too far to the bottom or off kilter that way. So you want to make sure that that is going to meet. Glue the center in here. And then, let's see, I'm going to scoot this over to one side. What I'll do is close this up, remove this strip of tape or the liner on here, position this down in place, and then this will open up. See if I can do this like so, and I'll repeat with the other side. This is going to be a lot easier to see with a piece that I've already done. And I'm hoping that using different cardstock colors gives you a better idea of what goes where. So you can see where that piece is going and this piece over here. And then it can actually close with either side on top. So this is how this will come together for that open sesame card. It's actually quite easy to do and I think a lot of fun, especially in combination with different pattern papers and different elements you want to use as your focal. So here I've covered the front 2 panels with this pattern paper. I've got strips of solid blued cardstock, and this is from the Golden Botanicals cardstock set. And then I've got some oval border dazzles for a little bit of shine. Let me show you these. This is the brown that I've used, or that beautiful bronze, so you can see how many different pieces you've got on there. Now it comes in a set with lots of sheets in a variety of finishes. So these are really nice for a classic bit of shine on either side, and I think just making a really elegant accent. Then I've got my focal, which is this beautiful collaged bird image, plus the well-loved sentiment, which I inked and added with foam tape. And when you open the card, you'll find more of that gorgeous pattern paper. Now, 2 tips. I suggest you decorate your open sesame strip before gluing it down. And I also suggest minimizing dimensional embellishments on these two panels, just so you don't have too much bulk. For my center portion, I have a cutout here. I've also got two cutout elements, the tickets and the sentiment. These are popped up with some foam tape, but this sentiment here has just been glued straight down, and that way I don't have a lot of bulk when I'm folding everything up together. It's a really fun design to create, and also one that I think just creates a lot of beautiful dimension and also works wonderfully with a variety of sizes of embellishments and collage pattern papers. Our final card has a simple and eye-catching focal made with some accents from the Urban Blue paper pack, plus some white vellum and some metal cogs and gears. So first I've covered the card front with blue pattern paper and then added this gorgeous tan piece in the center. On top I have a piece of plain vellum, which I've distressed in a way that's similar to the card that we saw earlier, except because vellum is not a porous material, I'm not going to use the water to soften this because it will just run right off. So instead, I'm simply crumpling up my vellum as much or as little as I want to, and then simply smoothing it out and adding it to the front of my card. Now you can do some inking on here. I would recommend using a permanent ink pad rather than a dye-based ink pad, which of course will not soak in. I really like to keep this quite natural though, and I love the white markings that you'll get from the folded up areas or the scrunched up areas of your vellum. And I find that that creates contrast enough. So this is what I've done, simply gluing this to the front of my card and hiding the glue behind where those cutout elements are going to be. So on top here, I've got my cutouts, which are inked and then layered with some foam tape, plus two metal accents. Now my bird cutout is the main focal, and I just wanted to show you something here with these bird cutouts. You've got quite a few on these sheets, and you may decide that you want to have this white area between the bird feet removed, kind of like what I've done here, so that you can see what's behind the bird. And to do that, you can either use a craft knife to get in here. You can also simply snip apart the feet and then use your scissors to get in between those two little birdie feet so that you can trim away some of the white on there. So a couple of options for you there, and that's what I've done here. So then I've got my bird, I've also got my sentiments layered on here as well to create a really fun and easy collaged focal. For my card inside, I have some more simple collaging with some pattern paper and a few more of the cutouts. And this is our final project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Ciao for two absolutely stunning collections that were so much fun to work with. And a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're so glad that you're here, and we're happy you're a part of our Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.